What's up, guys? It's me, Alan. I'm back with another video, and I've only done one mock draft so far for the first round of the 2022 NFL Draft. So today I'm going to do a second one because the draft is this week, and um, I have thoughts. So with that being said, if you want to check that out, go ahead. But otherwise, make sure to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you don't miss out on future uploads. I am so close to 600 subscribers. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. And let's go ahead and let's take a look at my second first round mock draft for the season, or for this year, I should say. So we start with the Jacksonville Jaguars at the number 1 overall pick. And I've been seeing as of late that Travon Walker could end up being the number 1 pick, supplanting Aidan Hutchinson, Evan Neal, Kayvon, Thibodeaux, etc., etc. Don't do that, Jacksonville. The fuck are you doing? If you're gonna take an edge guy, and the thing is, I've been saying that I want them taking Evan Neal because you could use more offensive line support. But if you're going to take someone on defense, and if you're going to take someone for your defensive line, the pick is absolutely Aidan Hutchinson. There's no other way around it. It's Hutchinson. It's not Walker. It's Hutchinson. Now, there is a chance that Deebo Samuel could get traded this week during the draft, whatever. And if Jacksonville could possibly be in on that, we'll have to see what happens. But if they do trade the number 1 pick to get in a deal to get Samuel, it is going to significantly, whatever the deal ends up being, it will potentially significantly change what the outlook of the draft is going to be. But with that being said, for right now, I have them taking Hutchinson. And that brings us to the number 2 pick with the Detroit Lions, and there's a trade to announce. It's either, for me, if Hutchinson falls to 2, he goes to Detroit, or they trade down. And I have them trading down with the Giants, picking up the 5th, 36th, and 147th picks in this draft, along with a 3rd rounder next year and a 1st rounder the year after. So the Giants don't even give up the 7th pick, so that the Giants could take the 2nd pick and the 177th pick, and they move up to take Evan Neal at 2. And the reason being is, I think it's more realistic if the Lions want to take Malik Willis later than it is at 2. Even then, it might still be a bit of a reach. But more importantly, for the Giants, getting Neal, is a big addition to your offensive line. And you don't know what Houston or New York or the other New York team's going to do. I don't think either of them are taking a quarterback. Houston has Davis Mills. The Giants have Zach Wilson. So there's no point in either of them taking Willis or Kenny Pickett or somebody like that. So the Lions are safe there. They get more draft capital. Giants get their guy for the offensive line. And they keep the 7th pick, which allows them to get somebody else. So I would do that. Then at the 3rd pick, I have Houston taking Derek Stingley Jr., the cornerback out of LSU, and the Jets follow that up by taking cornerback Ahmad Gardner out of Cincinnati. So back-to-back corner picks. I think it's fair to say Houston, taking Stingley is a solid pick. You can make the argument for Thibodeaux. You can make the argument for somebody else. But kind of like how I said before with Kyle Hamilton in the first mock draft, taking Stingley and adding him to your defensive backfield in your division where you're dealing with Trevor Lawrence, Ryan Tannehill, and now Matt Ryan. It's not the greatest group of quarterbacks to deal with, but getting interceptions against them, I mean, fair enough. So I think getting Stingley will be a big, big deal for them. And then for the Jets getting Gardner, it just feels like a really good pick for the Jets to make. It might be the safe pick to make for them, and it should still come out well as long as he stays healthy. He's a great corner. There's a reason why he has the nickname Sauce, because he's so fucking good. And I have him going to the Jets at 4. And then Detroit at 5, they will take Malik Willis there. So basically, if they want Willis, they can still get him and move down in the process to get more draft capital to help out with that rebuild. I don't think, and Willis can sit behind Jared Goff for a year. And then you'll see what happens next off season. Maybe you play Willis late in the season. Um, but it feels like Willis's draft stock has gotten high enough to where he could go. He could go to the Lions at 2, but I would feel better if he went somewhere like closer to 5. And I think Detroit moving down here is a safe pick to make. Then we have the Panthers at 6, who are like, well, shit. So they go ahead and grab the other top offensive tackle out of the draft, Ikem Ekwonu, instead of taking a guy like a Kenny Pickett after seeing Willis go at 5. I don't know what the hell the Panthers do this year. I really don't. Because on one hand, you really can't put Sam Darnold back out there after what he showed you last year. On the other hand, it doesn't seem like they're going to trade for Baker. There's the whole Kyler Murray situation in Arizona, which I don't think he's getting out of Arizona right now. I don't see that happening. I would be surprised if he does, and even then, I don't know. It would be more realistic for the Panthers to go get Mayfield because Mayfield's value is so fucking low. Murray is going to cost you a couple of firsts. Mayfield at best will probably cost you maybe a third, maybe a low second at best, but that's still a reach. So I think you just go with the safe bet, probably best player available. You take Ekwonu at 6. And if you want to take a quarterback, I don't have Desmond Ridder going first round, so you could probably grab him early second. Matt Corral later on, obviously. So there's that to think about. But get some offensive line help. That's your best bet. And then you have the Giants at 7. They don't give up the 7th pick to move up to 2. And as a result of that, they take Kayvon Thibodeaux out of Oregon. So not only do they get their guy on the offensive line, but they get a great player for the defensive line as well. And I'm sure my family on my mom's side, or family on mom's side of the family who are Giants fans, will be happy about these picks. Then you have the Falcons at 8, and I think this is where Travon Walker will go. He played at Georgia. It makes sense for him to go to Atlanta. I just don't see him going number 1. It would be a very stupid move by the Jaguars to do that because at that point, if you're going to try and take Travon Walker over a Aidan Hutchinson or an Evan Neal, then fucking trade out of the pick, bro, because there's no point. Walker over Hutchinson just, it doesn't make sense. I think Hutchinson is more of a sure thing. And yeah, I would not want Walker going number 1 to the Jaguars. I'm not saying that Walker's a bad player. I just don't think he's better than Hutchinson. Arguably, I don't think he's better than Thibodeaux either. But he's still a guy that can, I think at this point, with how well he did at the Combine, can go in the top 10 and probably will. Just not number 1. So he goes to Atlanta at 8, who needs defensive help badly. Then we have our second trade of the draft, and I mentioned before the Eagles-Saints trade. Eagles had 3 first-round picks going into this draft, their own, the Colts pick from the Wentz trade, and the Dolphins pick from a trade last year. And then they made the deal with the Saints. So now both of them have 2 first-rounders. I have the Saints trading the 16th and 19th picks along with their third-round pick at 98 to go up to 9 with Seattle. And I have them taking Kenny Pickett. It feels like the Saints making that trade with the Eagles, it just screams that they're going to trade up for a QB. And I think once they see where Willis goes, they're going to find someone to move up. I think Seattle's, you're not going to trade up with a division rival in the Falcons. So I think moving up with Seattle is probably their first option as a trade target. And they get Pickett at 9. I've wanted Pickett to fall to the Steelers at 20, but unless the Steelers move up, and I don't know if they will, it doesn't feel like a Steelers thing to do. They're not getting him. As for the Saints, yeah, they brought back, I believe they brought in Andy Dalton, then they brought back Jameis. But that doesn't mean that they won't go get Pickett, because like Andy Dalton isn't the same Andy Dalton that he used to be. Winston, he was better last year before he got hurt. But it's still Jameis Winston, and having Pickett for the future is a smart move to make. You just have to hope he pans out. Not to say that he'll be the next Drew Brees, but it's a safe bet to make. Then you have the Jets at 10. They already got Ahmad Gardner. They take Charles Cross with this pick to add some more help to their offensive line, which you need that in the AFC East, especially considering Buffalo has Von Miller now. And speaking of offensive line picks, Washington at 11 grabs Texas A&M's Kenyon Green for their O-line. I mean, you're now going to have to, at least the way I see it, you're now going to have to deal with Kayvon Thibodeaux, with the Giants. Detroit's got a pretty solid defense. The Eagles have some guys on their defense, so you need help on your offensive line. Grab Kenyon Green. It'll work out for you. Minnesota at 12, I have them taking Kyle Hamilton. He falls out of the top 10, but he doesn't fall that far. I mean, it was from, and by the way, again, I use the Draft Network for these mock drafts and whatnot. And they had safety as their top listed need. So with Hamilton still on the board, I can see this happening. Then we have the Texans at 13. Of course, this was Cleveland's pick. Got traded in the Watson deal. And the Packers, they move up, sending the 22nd and 28th picks because of the Davante Adams trade with the Raiders, along with the 59th and 171st picks for the 13th and 183rd picks. And they draft Jameson Williams out of Alabama. He's looked, from what I've seen as of late, he's looked really good in his recovery from the ACL tear. If he doesn't suffer that injury, he goes top 10 easy. So the Packers getting him at 13 is a bit of a steal. And it's something that they need because they need a big-time replacement for Davante Adams. Jameson Williams is that guy, and you're not going to get him at 22. You're going to have to move up. So if the Packers are smart about it, they'll move up and grab him. And granted, there are other wide receivers that can go in the first round, and Green Bay may not take any of them because Green Bay. But if they can get Williams, that would be massive for them. So then we have the Ravens at 14. I think this is one of the few picks that I have that remains the same from the original mock draft. And that is that I have them taking Jordan Davis, the defensive lineman out of Georgia. Say what you want. I think he's a great fit there. Eagles at 15. I have them taking Andrew Booth Jr., the cornerback out of Clemson. Defensive backfield help. That's been something that has lacked for them in years past. So get Booth Jr. to see what he can do for you. Seattle at 16. I have them taking Jermaine Johnson out of Florida State. Could take him at 9, but again, Saints move up to get Pickett, so they take Johnson here. The Chargers at 17 grab Devin Lloyd, the linebacker out of Utah. Arguably the top linebacker out of this class, and probably the only definite lock of the linebacker class to go in the first round. And if the Chargers can get him, that would be amazing to add to an already really good-looking defense. Eagles at 18, they take Tyler Linderbaum out of Iowa to probably have him at guard first and then move him to center once Jason Kelce is officially finally retired. And he'll be your center of the future. Trent McDuffie goes to the Seahawks at 19. Again, more defensive help. Steelers at 20, they don't get to take Pickett, so I have them taking Devontae Wyatt, the other defensive lineman out of Georgia. And you could flip this with Jordan Davis. It could go either way. But they both go to an AFC North team, so it works out. Then you have the 21st pick, which is the Patriots pick, but I have them trading down with the Titans, picking up the 26th, 90th, and 143rd picks, along with a second rounder for next year. Or actually, no, for next year, to get the 21st and 200th picks, so the Titans can move up to 21 and get linebacker Nakobe Dean out of Georgia. Feels like there's going to be a bunch of Georgia guys going in the first round because there's a lot of Georgia prospects here. Houston at 22, they grabbed George Karlaftis out of Purdue. I think I pronounced his last name either better or worse than I did in the original mock draft, but that's neither here nor there. Cardinals at 23 take Chris Olave out of Ohio State. Traylon Burks from Arkansas goes 24th to Dallas. And then we have another trade, this time with the Bengals and Bills, and this is the last trade of the first round. The Bills sending the 31st, 95th, and 136th picks to the Bills for the 25th and 130th picks. So basically, swap firsts, swap fourths, and the Bengals throw a third in there. So the Bengals can grab Zion Johnson out of Boston College to add to that offensive line, which is already improved this offseason thanks to some of their signings, but you can always get more, and you need more. Then we have the Patriots at 26. They move down from 21. And I personally would like to see them take Christian Watson out of North Dakota State at wide receiver. I think that would be a really, really neat pick. Maybe a little bit of a reach, but I think he'll do well in New England. And then Tampa Bay follows it up at 27 by taking Garrett Wilson. So a lot of wide receivers going off the board late in the first round. That's how I feel it's going to go. Houston at 28 takes Trevor Penning out of Northern Iowa. At 29 and 30, the Chiefs with back-to-back picks here. Of course, one of them being courtesy of the Dolphins. They take Drake London at 29 and then take Boye Mafe at 30. London out of USC, Mafe out of Minnesota. So they add to both sides. They could end up taking two wide receivers back-to-back here, and I would not be surprised, all things considered, because McCole Hardman, I believe, Byron Pringle was the one that went to Chicago. Hardman, I think, is still there. And obviously the Tyreek Hill trade. So they have that to deal with. Then you have Buffalo at 31. I have them taking Kenneth Walker III, the running back out of Michigan State. Buffalo is in need of a running back, so I think this pick makes sense. And then Detroit at 32 closes out the first round by taking Daxton Hill, the safety out of Michigan. And hopefully he can stay healthy and pan out better than Jeffrey Okudah has, because what the fuck happened with Okudah? Seriously. So that is that's the first round mock draft that I have, or like at least my second one. And outside of that, there's still a bunch of great, prospects that could go in the first round, but I just don't have them going here. I think the biggest, you have Jahan Dotson out of Penn State, David Oyabo out of Michigan, who arguably I think would be a first rounder if he didn't get hurt at his pro day. DeMarvin Leal out of Texas A&M, Jaquan Brisker also out of Penn State, Isaiah Spiller out of Texas A&M, Lewis Cine out of Georgia, Desmond Ridder out of Cincinnati, I mentioned it before, Perron Winfrey out of Oklahoma, and so on and so forth. I would argue this is one of the most unpredictable first round mock drafts that we've had in a long time. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Again, whatever happens at the top of the draft is going to set the tone for the rest. I wouldn't be surprised necessarily if the Jaguars go with Travon Walker at number 1. I think that's a stupid pick, but do what you want to do. And then if Detroit passes on Hutchinson, I don't think Lions fans are going to be all that happy because he's right fucking there. Just take him. You can get you know, I know Detroit apparently likes Willis, but you have to, but I think Lions fans want Hutchinson. Um, and then you have all the teams that have multiple first rounders. I mean, you have the Chiefs, you have the Eagles, you have the Saints, Texans, Jets, Giants. Um, there's a lot Lions, obviously. Um, there's just the Packers. There's them as well. So there's a lot of things that could definitely happen. And I hope we don't get disappointed. I hope we see multiple trades. I hope we see some, off the wall type shit happen. I don't know if Samuel's going to get traded during the draft. I don't know if Baker's going to get traded. It's all shaping up to be one hell of a draft. And, yeah, I can't wait. So with all that being said, thank y'all for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I will catch y'all next time. Peace.